Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Might Left Turn Talks. I'm your host Johnny. I'm joined by Joe and Brad. I guess this episode for the 24th June.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That sounds right.
Or at least the week commencing 24th June. I guess throw it over to Joe to see what he's been playing this week.
That sounds like a good idea as any. What did I play this week? I played quite a bit more Tekken Revolution. That game is pretty damn good. It's my kind of final verdict on that, really. I played... It's frustrating that I don't really have the time to play it as much as I'd like to. I only get to kind of like put an hour into it a day, which is pretty cool seeing as it's free to play. I haven't actually spent any money on it yet. But yeah, just been playing a lot more of that. I've got a lot of like things to take away from it as a Tekken player and just sort of what it does for Tekken in general. I won't bore you guys with that because it is kind of like boring fighting game stuff. So, but yeah, the only reason I bring it up is because like the kind of the general consensus on that game is that it's like shit, which is just really not true. I feel that a lot of that stuff comes from very like I feel that Revolution is aimed at like more serious Tekken players. It's definitely not aimed at like new Tekken players, which is kind of weird, seeing as it is free to play. You'd think that they would try a little more. There's definitely stuff in there to try and get newer people into it. I think the biggest thing that they do to help new players is just really like throttle down the roster. I think there's 12 characters when you unlock all of them, as opposed to 59, which there is in Tekken Tag 2. And a big part of Tekken is learning characters and learning what they can do. And it's obviously a lot easier to learn 11 characters as opposed to 58. So, I guess that could go in your favor. The invincibility moves are pretty cool. They're although they actually end up helping the more experienced players more than they do newer players. Because if you rely on, like, if your kind of game plan, and there's still plenty of people playing it that is their entire game plan, they just rely on you not knowing a character. And it's like, right, I'm just going to, go ape shit with strings and hope this guy doesn't know how to defend against me. And in Tekken Tag 2, that is an annoyingly viable strategy. You play as like Baek or Hwoarang, and plenty of times I've lost to fucking people that just do nothing but mash strings. And that invincibility move kind of gets rid of all of that, because as soon as you see someone start doing that, it's like, yeah, bang, invincibility move, like, fuck off, actually play the game. And so it kind of forces people to, play more defensively, but like kind of play Tekken a bit more how it's intended to be played. So yeah, I really like that game. I think if you're like me and like, that aspect of Tekken Tag 2 is kind of annoying. I mean, I still really love Tekken Tag 2 and I still play it, but it's nice to not lose to just, not knowing a character. It's like, oh, I'm fighting like, fucking Roger, the fucking boxing kangaroo. I don't know this character, so I'm probably going to lose. Yeah, it's nice to have that aspect of the game removed, which is pretty cool. So what else did I play? I played The Last of Us, but I'll save that till I'll save that till last because there's a lot to talk about that. I played about, I think, 5 hours of BioShock Infinite.
Any reason?
I think, yeah, I just found a copy in a bin and thought, yeah, I ordered that this week, and it's a game I've definitely been meaning to play for a while. And I was really, like, when I first started playing it, like, John, you've played that, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think you've played that. And I know, Brad, you've played quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree that, like, I don't know if I was kind of worried that, like, the slow start of the game was going to last for fucking ages?
I was the exact opposite. I wish it had carried on like that.
Oh, right. No, I really didn't like that. And then I feel like when
it was
like
the first hour of the game was like, oh, this is really cool and atmospheric, and then it turned into a shooter, and then I immediately got 20% more bored.
I can relate to that, definitely. I'll get into that later, but I definitely feel you on that. But I don't mean like that sort of the beginning bit. I mean like the very, like before you even fire a gun, like that sort of, I don't know, maybe it lasts like maybe 20 minutes, 20, 25
It can
minutes.
last longer if you actually soak it in.
But I did a fair amount of just looking around and just kind of went with it. But yeah, it probably lasted me like maybe 25 minutes, half an hour. I give it credit for having a pretty good, like, all of a sudden, yo, this is the game now. Like, put this awesome, like, rotating drill bit in this dude's face. Now you have a gun, shoot people. But yeah, then I kind of agree with you completely. It's like, yeah, then it's like, yep, I'm just shooting dudes in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting dudes on fire and I'm summoning crows and shit, but I'm still just, I don't know, it doesn't feel, apart from like some of the aesthetics and some of the, what I feel are just kind of winks and nods more than necessities for the game, like to the old BioShock, I'm not getting much of a BioShock vibe from it.
Yeah, I mean, that whole, I think, Ken Levine talked a bit about the whole, it being called BioShock it was way more of a business decision than it was like a creative decision from the sounds of it. Like 2K were like, there's no way we're going to let you there's no way we're going to let you just like throw away the BioShock name to make this other thing. I mean, there are things like stylistically, but it's never.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the whole like just the way it looks and like.
I mean, to me, it feels like, calling a game Final Fantasy or calling a game Far Cry at this point. It's like that doesn't necessarily denote like a story sort of continuity. Yeah. It's just like these games are made by the same studio and have sort of similar ideas. But I mean, it's not in the same
like
sort of vein as BioShock. Yeah. I mean, it does have a lot of, and like towards the end there is definitely there's some very direct links to those games, I think, which actually work in a really cool way, because it, like, from the sounds of it, like that sort of that BioShock, like calling that game BioShock was forced on them, and like it seems like they had to sort of write around that, but the way they do that is like I think really intelligent and actually some of the best stuff in the game.
I'm not too far into the story.
I think the thing about that game is it takes a while for it to really, like, it's like that the last sort of few hours of that game, where it's like you just you're sort of barreling along, and like that's when the story really starts to pick up, and it takes a while for that game to really kick in, I think.
I mean, I'm going to stick with it. Like mechanically, I think it's like really, really sound. As just like the way it plays, I think it just plays super smooth. Like the actual gameplay of it is really awesome. I'm playing the PC version, so it looks pretty damn nice.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I'm playing on. Probably high or ultra. I think they're ultra, aren't they, on that game? Did you guys play it on console? Sorry, I don't remember. All right, yeah. I think they're ultra. I think ultra is like your high mode.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it looks awesome. That part at the beginning of the game where you get like the fire plasmid and it like burns off all your skin. You see like your bones. Like that was fucking awesome. Like that bit was really cool. That bit kind of freaked me out a little bit. I was like, that looks a little too good. Like the skin burning away. Like that looks a little too real for my liking. But yeah. It's I just haven't got much to say about it at the moment. It doesn't, like BioShock is a very, it feels like it's hitting a lot of the BioShock tick boxes. You know what I mean? Like, it's got like the steampunk-esque aesthetic. It's got, audio logs. It's got like, old sort of technology that is in some ways better, and it's got like the plasmid equivalent. I will say this: I really do like the how they've what is it called? Is it? Oh, what are the things called that you drink? I can't remember.
Vigors.
The Vigors, that's it. I thought that, but then I thought I was getting that confused with Tekken, but no, it's called that. I really like how they set that up. I think it's pretty cool. I always think the designs of all the different bottles and that is really interesting. Really different way to do it than the plasmids. But yeah, not really feeling it as a BioShock game at the moment. At the moment, it's just a really solid shooter, I feel.
Yeah.
But hopefully
it's sort of disappointing that game came out like when everyone was bored of shooters, because it's like it's certainly not a bad shooter just on its own. Like
it's superb. I mean,
actually,
it's really moves. Yeah. Like it has such good pace, and I really like that. This is more of a personal thing, but I really like that. Like the hip firing, like when you don't aim down the sight. I really like that hip firing is accurate. like it always kind of annoys me that in most games now you just have to use the aiming mode. Like there's no point at all to shooting, regularly. I do like that. It feels it plays really, really smooth. I mean, part of that is probably due to the PC version, but like really, really smooth. Like the gameplay, I don't think really is at fault in any way. So
Yeah.
But yeah, not a whole lot to say about it. I'll probably have more to say about it when I finish it if it picks up like you say. So, and I guess that brings me to The Last of Us. I played through that this week.
Yes.
So, John, I'm assuming we should talk about that.
Hey guys, is The Last of Us good?
It's all right. It's like a
mid-tier.
All right, I won't bother then.
It's like a 7.2, like maybe.
What does that translate to in
7.3.
Microsoft points?
Maybe 7.25 at a push. It's a very good game. Yeah. All right, let's be serious here. That game's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Let's call it. Let's call it how it is. I really think it's going to be hard to talk about this without spoilers. To really like get into why that game is so good and why I think it's a very important, sort of landmark game. I don't think we can really talk around what makes it that. Do you agree? Because I know it's still obviously a very, very new game that according to a lot of people they can't find. That's sold out still in a lot of places. So
strange.
Unless you want to order it online.
I mean, what I would say, like, without spoilers, is it does stuff with story that, like, it just, in terms of games, just hasn't been done before. Like, the depth of, like, the characters and the way they're developed, the way the story plays out, it completely, like, subverts expectations. I think it's just...
Yeah, I agree. And I think more so than that, and I really think part of my, like, amazement for the game is that I felt like I was caught completely off guard. I didn't really have much expectation going into it. Depending on who you talk to, from the creators of Uncharted, is like, oh my god. Whereas to me, that's like, yeah, I don't care. That doesn't hold a lot of weight with me personally to say to me, oh, these guys made Uncharted. It's like, well, to me, those games are kind of average. So, I'm going to go into this not really caring about the past games that they've made. But I think that what it's difficult to narrow down one thing, but one thing I really took away from it is that, like, that game really shows how to do story right for the medium. That is not trying to be like the way that story is told in The Last of Us. You couldn't really tell it any other way and have it be as impactful.
Well, I mean, it requires you to experience a lot of the stuff yourself as opposed to having it, like, shown to you, I guess. Like, it requires you to, beat a dude's head in or, like, have all these moments, like, these quiet moments with Ellie. It's like, none of this could be done in any other media form. Like, you couldn't have, like, 17 hours of whatever it is, of that sort of, I don't know, character development and stuff in any other medium. It's
I agree.
crazy.
I think the story, like the things it touches on story wise, I think they're important because, like you say, a game hasn't really done them yet, and it, like, not only that, it does them and it, like, hits them out of the fucking park. It's not just, oh my god, here is, I don't know, like something controversial. Oh my god, a game is doing this. It's like, no, this actually makes complete sense within the context of this game and this story. And
it doesn't just have
well.
plot points for the sake of plot points. It has plot points and does interesting things with them.
It's not shock value for the sake of shock
value.
No. It's not like, oh my god, here's, a woman dying. Oh, that's so horrible.
That's crazy,
It's like, no, this actually is contextualized and makes perfect sense. It's, like the story, I mean, I think we should get into spoilers, to be honest, because fucking, stop listening, Brad. You, like, want to mute?
Shall I go away and
or something? Well, I mean, it depends. Like, do you really care? Like, I mean, I don't know if John agrees, but, like, I would certainly say this game is worth playing, like, no matter what. Like, you really should play it. And if you think you should by what you've seen, then you won't want to hear, like, the story stuff.
All right, I'll peace out for a bit then.
Okay. We'll just.
I'm going to put down the call and then I'll join you later. Actually,
Okay.
wait, am I hosting the call? No, I'm not. Okay.
No, I think it's me, isn't it?
Yeah, you started it. All right.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
Bye, Bud.
Hi, Brad. Okay, so Brad's checked out. Okay, so I guess what do you want to talk about? What's like your main story? What's your main story beats that you want to touch on?
God, I mean, it was funny that game. Like, because it was weird. There was times when like I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, I should play Last of Us. Like, I'm really enjoying it, but I sort of didn't want to play it because I thought something I'd read around the game. I hadn't had it spoiled from it or anything, but it's just the way people were talking about
stories spoiled.
The way people were talking about that game was just I know, like, in the way post-apocalyptic fiction usually plays out, was like something bad's gonna happen to at least one of these characters that I really care about, and I was like, I sort of don't want to see what happens because these characters are like really well developed and stuff. They're really interesting characters, and like it was actually sort of hard for me to like push on through that game because I was like, yeah, it's gonna happen right now. Something really bad's gonna happen right now.
Yeah.
And then like by the end, like that whole hospital sequence where you like split up from Ellie, like I was having like fucking heart palpitations, just like, oh shit, oh Jesus Christ, I just need to get through this now because like the way they like build up tension in that sequence, I think is amazing. It's just, oh god, that yeah. And like, yeah, the way like I said, like the way they subvert the expectations of the end, like having, obviously spoilers, having the characters just be fine, I guess, in the end, like alive in the end, is like,
I'd say alive is fine is
obviously
relative.
like there's a lot of stuff like to do with their relationship that gets a bit crazy, but
I agree. I think like what you said about post-apocalyptic, like it's like the exact opposite of The Walking Dead. Like, you know, playing The Walking Dead, you knew that it was going to end with pretty much everyone dying.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but you knew that was what was going to happen. Whereas, I don't know about you, in The Last of Us, I never really believed that like Joel or Ellie would die. Like, I thought
I was
maybe
almost convinced Joel would die. Like,
I was thinking that, I must admit, but it got to a certain point where I thought, like, no, like, you know, he might like lose a leg or like something really fucked up might happen to him, but I don't think he'll die. Because he's not your typical hero. He's not really a good guy per se at all. I'm actually playing through it again at the moment. I'm probably about halfway through it on my second playthrough, and there is definitely stuff that I didn't really pick up on my first playthrough about his character. And it's like, yeah, this guy is not really, you know, good at all.
He's kind of really a hero.
No, like even like with Ellie, even like going through that story, like he has his moments. But going through it again, there's a couple of things said by Ellie and Tess like very early on that I thought, I was like, how did I not pick up on that my first time through? Like that's a pretty important thing. One bit in particular, I definitely remember like thinking that was weird, but I didn't quite hear what they were saying. One, I mean, it is cool that they've done that, but like it's an annoying like realism thing, you know, when you're like walking in an environment and you have a conversation going.
Yeah.
If you move too far away, you'll not be able to hear as well. Like, you know, that their voice will actually be further away. So on my second playthrough, I actually did turn on subtitles because I was like, I don't really want to miss any dialogue. And you know the part where the hunters try and ambush you when you're in the car, like they have the guy come out, pretend to be hurt. My very first time, I got like all of the dialogue where it was obvious that Joel had done that, you know, before and been on both sides of it. But I missed the part where Ellie asks him, like, so you've killed a lot of innocent people, and then he just kind of says, like, I think like the subtitle is, he just mumbles, and she just, I'll take that as a yes. And I didn't get that at all my first playthrough because I couldn't hear I was too busy exploring and I couldn't hear the actual dialogue at that point. Which is a pretty huge thing about Joel as a character. He's not, you know, he's not your average, like, I don't know, like post-apocalyptic, you know, morally good
doing
guy.
Everything for the right reasons, I guess. Sort of.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
what about the intro? That's a pretty big. I think there
Yeah,
are
I mean,
bigger things, but I mean the intro is a pretty
it's
pretty important moment.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it obviously sets up Joel as a character like
Yeah.
really well.
Did you like expect that at all? Did you think that
the
was going to happen?
like the daughter dying?
Yeah.
I guess I sort like I thought it was that was sort of my problem was like because of like even if you just watch one video there's no real mention of his daughter like anywhere else. So like I was like, well, where is she gonna go? I guess, and like
Yeah.
her dying seemed like a sort of obvious conclusion. I guess. I mean, it was still well done and stuff. It was just like I don't know. That was something I wish they'd sort of maybe like obfuscated a bit better. As like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like
That's where like I'm really glad that I like knew absolutely nothing going into
Yeah.
this. And I don't think I actually knew explicitly that Ellie wasn't his daughter. Um, I think I knew that they weren't related, but I
Yeah.
didn't really know she wasn't his daughter. So like that really wasn't on my mind at the beginning of the game. And when you start the game, obviously Joel is a lot younger than
Yeah.
when you actually, kind of start the proper game. So maybe in the back of my mind, I was thinking, yeah, his daughter could, grow up and, move on or do whatever. It wasn't kind of immediately in the forefront of my mind, like, oh, she has to die because otherwise, how are we going to get to, 20 or whatever years later with Ellie? So, but I think more importantly, like, it's one of those things that it hasn't really been done in a game ever. I don't think I can't really remember a game ever killing a child like that, like a human child. Like there's always been, if there ever has been, I think there might have been like some, I mean, like in Dead Space, like there are like the zombie babies,
I mean,
and it's like,
I guess Duck in The Walking Dead.
yeah, but you don't really see it happen.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
you don't like it's never on camera. You never see dead duck ever.
Yeah,
I don't think. Whereas you kind of see Sarah die, like you see it. You see her, die with Joel, and that's like. And it's one of those things that it's never been done, and not only did they do it, like they did it, and they totally nailed it. It wasn't, oh my god, look how shocking this is. It felt really, really not necessary. That's the wrong word, but it just felt right for the story and for the game. It was like thinking about it, like if she'd have been fine, like after a guy maybe 10 feet away from them had just like shot a load of bullets at them, wouldn't really made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it was funny. I actually like I ended up bringing my PS3 around to my sister's like after I'd finished it and like got her to like she plays quite a few games, which isn't obviously not as much as me, but I got her to like play through the opening sequence and stuff like to start the game, and yeah, it was really like it was sort of intense like watching that bit again, even after I'd already seen it and stuff like.
I really loved the opening. I really loved the way they like when you start off and you play as Sarah and you get out of bed at night and the phone rings, like you get this like feeling, it's like something is kind of wrong, and then you go into his bedroom and like you see the TV, like you see that first news report, and you don't really get an idea of how close it is, and you go downstairs and then Joel like comes in through the screen door, immediately gets his gun, and you see the neighbor come in, and like the way they set that up was just it was so awesome. Like
there's like loads of little subtle. There's a bit where like during that sequence where you go downstairs and you walk past like the glass doors, and like I was just expecting right shit, so here comes a zombie, and nothing happens. But I was already like really tense at that bit, and like the game had like just started. I was like already like.
It just does such like like openings in games being very gameless, if that makes sense in terms of mechanics, has become quite a common thing.
Yeah,
reminds me of actually something I wanted to touch on in BioShock. That opening in BioShock Infinite, I was really annoyed when I first started playing it because I was like, this is so artificial that I can't do anything. Like, I can't do anything except walk and just be forced to listen to all this crap. Whereas in The Last of Us, it makes perfect sense because you're playing as a child and, everything is fine as far as you know. You've been woken up in the middle of the night and you're looking for your dad. Like, it's not, it's not really arbitrary, like, oh, this is our slow part of the game where you can't really do anything because we're trying to, immerse you or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
They seem to do that like effortlessly, like so effortlessly at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
There was something else I really wanted to talk about at the beginning.
I think the Tess's death, I think, was the moment when I was like sort of, I knew this game was awesome, because like Tess isn't in the game for that long, really.
No, she's not. She's
in
only
it for maybe
maybe an hour. If
yeah,
that.
probably
maybe a little bit longer.
But like even that bit was like still. It wasn't like I wasn't like crying or anything, but it was really well done, and like you could tell like the complexities in like Tess and Joel's relationship, just the way they talk to each other and stuff, and like the bit when you obviously run because there's like all the soldier dudes coming after you, and like you go upstairs and like there's like you can tell that you're gonna go back like into the room where Tess was killed, and like. That I had to sort of pause for a moment because I was like, I sort of don't want to see her dead body. Like, I don't want to like look at that, and I think that was just.
You can't really help but see it.
Yeah.
And one thing as well that I think, I mean, it's not really kind of overlooked, but like this game really, like the importance of voice acting and like just how important like the difference it makes.
Yeah.
It's jumping ahead a little bit, but the conversation Ellie and Sam have, in I'm not sure if it's a bedroom, but when like you get through the end part of like that like not really military, but like the militia sort of chasing you.
Yeah.
And Ellie goes and talks to Sam in that, and like they just have like a sort of a regular conversation. It's like. But the dialogue is so good. It's like it's really real, and like the way it's sort of like set up and that it looks like. Remember what I said about Max Payne 3 looking like just really shitty in terms of the way it's shot, and it's like this is just like film style camera angles in a video game, and they don't work at all. Like because you're working with like polygonal models and characters, like the faces aren't the same. I mean that doesn't really apply to this because like the faces are fucking ridiculous. Like the detail, like and the like the emotion that the faces have is incredible. But like that conversation was one of my favorite scenes in the whole game. Yeah, it was like this is like usually there's nothing more I hate in games than children. Like it's because they are always terrible. Like they always have terrible voices. Like they have they have dialogue that children wouldn't say. Like it's just one of those things that's very, very, very rarely done well. Like children are just always usually are really, really annoying in games, and they're not in this one. Like it's not only are they not annoying, they're also like really, really good. I wasn't necessarily expecting it. Like when you see Sam kind of get tackled, I was like, yeah, he's probably infected now. But I was really wishing that he wasn't. I was really hoping like Henry and Sam would stay with you. Like throughout, even not maybe throughout the whole game, but like at least for a bit longer. So, and like and again, they're not really with you for that long. Like I think it's probably longer than Ellie, but like they're not with you for that long. But when they die, it was that was a rough scene, like especially in the manner in which they do die.
Yeah, totally. All that stuff is awesome. Like I think like. There's stuff just when you're walking around, like exploring, like after you've, it's after you've left the city. When you've got is it Pittsburgh? Well, it's the city with the yellow bridge, basically. That like you get to the bridge and then you find out it's broke and you jump off the bridge, basically. It's like after that bit, you're like walking around some houses and like there's just little bits of like. Ellie and Sam talking with each other, and then there's like them playing darts with each other and stuff, and it's like just little like you could completely miss that, I guess, but it's just little character moments like that make like when something rough happens, it's like really just
it's like it's that game as a whole is just a masterclass in how to do like characters in a video game and make them feel real, like not shitty and. Like, I mean, I'm assuming it's like the same sort of performance capture that's in Uncharted. Like that is a large part of it. Like the way they move, in cutscenes, it just looks, that looks like captured. That doesn't look, animated or anything like that. But yeah, there's so many. It's hard to talk about like great bits in the game because there's just so many. There really is. I think the part where you actually find Tommy again and that sort of segment of the game.
Yeah.
I really like that part where Ellie like steals the horse and goes to the ranch she knows, and you find her in the house,
Yeah.
and she's like reading what is like obviously a girl's diary from before the outbreak, and she's like that her not a speech, but she says like this is all they had to worry about really, like boys and makeup and bullshit, like this is it.
I think it's really interesting having a character that I don't think a lot of stuff does this, just because of the way a lot of post-apocalyptic fiction is, but having someone who isn't like, it wasn't born in, I guess, our world. She's born in like the world after the disaster, but it's not far enough removed where she's just like this weird like
yeah,
like,
it's 6
future
years.
person.
She's 14. She's 14, and it's 20 years.
Like there's enough links to like the the world before the apocalypse, and obviously she knows enough people that were born before it that she like understands some of that stuff, but it's like she doesn't have a full understanding of like the world that existed before.
And I think they handle it really well, like the stuff that she kind of misses. When you go into Bill's hideout and there's that chessboard on the desk, and she asks you like, "What is this?" Like it's like, yeah, you probably wouldn't. Chess is probably not on the high list of things you would think to tell somebody.
Not a priority.
No. But she does know about the video game stand, like the video game machine in that cafe. It's like really little, like really subtle, like touches like that. Just
really
awesome.
I Bill was the character I was trying to talk around last week, because I think it was like I just got to after him, I think, when I'd stopped playing last week, and I think all his stuff is really well done. Like just he's a fairly minor character. You're only with him for like half an hour.
I'd say he's one of that segment is one of my favorites.
Like
I really like that.
The whole thing with the letter and his relationship with the Frank character. Is really it's like,
did you find his note? Did you find Frank's note?
Yeah. And like it doesn't just like I mean, as far as I can tell, like Bill and Frank were it had a relationship.
Yeah, they were. Like I think it's pretty like it's alluded to, but I think when you find that note,
the thing that really gives it away, was actually a really funny line, is the cutscene after that when you're driving away. And Ellie's reading like the gay porn mag or something, and then she goes like, "Oh, how does he walk around with that thing?" Like obviously talking about a dude with a big dick. And I just thought that line was
like
was
that sort of
hilarious.
stuff. That sort of stuff is one of the most impressive things, because like that's the sort of stuff that I really wish games could get right more often.
Yeah.
Because like this game has got some really harrowing stuff in it, but it still makes you laugh. Like this.
It's that sort of like
in the game.
I think games find it hard to like, they have this sort of one track mind sort of thing when it comes to like, what is the tone of this game? Like the tone of this game is apocalypse, therefore there's no humor. And I think what it was something The Walking Dead did as well, is where they can still mix in humor. They can like, they had that whole silly detective thing with Duck in the 3rd episode, I think it was, and like all that stuff's funny, and it's like the bit where you can give him a high five after you solve the crime or whatever, and it's like just because a game is serious, like it doesn't mean there isn't going to be funny moments. Like there are funny moments in life, just like even if you're doing something serious, you can still like laugh at something. And it's like it stops the game from becoming completely bogged down in like, oh, this is horrible, like
and I think it also makes
everything is terrible. Like
I think it also makes the like the more harder moments, it makes them have more weight.
Yeah.
I think a pretty big moment is when and I think it's awesome to look at it both as like a moment in the game and look at it mechanically, if that makes sense. The only boss fight in the game is when you play as Ellie, if you think about it. Like that is the only real sort of boss in the whole game. And it would be and Joel doesn't actually like come into that part. It's like it's like, and that's I was half expecting that to happen, but I was hoping it wasn't going to.
Yeah.
Ellie puts him down. Like she kills. Is it David?
I
think it's David.
Yeah, I think David. Yeah.
And you can tell that really affects her, like in that scene.
Yeah.
If it was all doom and gloom, that sort of stuff wouldn't have that impact. I don't think. I think maybe that's a part of like some of the Walking Dead doesn't have the same kind of feel. Like it's only really like the real, like really rough shit that I kind of took away from me with The Walking Dead. Like some of the lighter tone stuff I don't quite remember as much.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. Maybe like because there is just so much doom and gloom that, oh my god,
Yeah.
the whole world is fucked. You know, there's not enough like reminders of, you know, wasn't all bad to make that stuff.
I mean, obviously there's the scene with the giraffes in like the final city where it's like it's sort of like it almost tricked me into thinking like, oh, maybe the ending's gonna be all right, maybe everything's gonna be fine, and then it's like, no.
Yeah, the ending is again, I don't get ahead, but yeah, that giraffe scene, I loved that. I think that the way they like set that up, I mean that is directly after Ellie kills Dave. No, not Dave, sorry.
Is it?
No, it's David. Yeah, that is like the following section of the game.
Yeah. It's not like direct. It's not like straight away.
It's not
but
like she kills him. They walk outside. Oh, look, a giraffe. Yeah, it's I think touching on that actually, like the way they transition like the chapters going through seasons, I really liked. I thought that was really cool. That was a really nice touch. But yeah, like that segment taking place directly after that is really cool. Like because Ellie is quite noticeably down for after that, and like that sort of I really wondered when you pass the ladder up to her and when she goes, oh my god, and then runs off. Like I really wondered like what has she seen? Cause it obviously wasn't bad what she saw, and it like made me really curious.
That got me like really tense as well, because like you're like chasing her and then she says like, oh my god, like she looks out a window and then runs off, and I was like looking out the window like what, and then like it's like not there anymore, and I was like chasing her down like what the fuck did you see? And then that ending is
I guess that kind of leads us into the ending really.
It's awesome. I guess
I loved it. I think it was there are people complaining about it. You people are stupid. Like I think it's like not only is it not the expected. I mean, not only do, as you said, like they both live. They're both fine. Like they don't lose an arm or a leg or an eye or a leg and an arm. Like like anatomically speaking, they are both fine. Like nothing like happens to Ellie.
No like physical
Dave
harm.
Chapter.
I guess it's like
and like I think the main thing is like him is Joel lying at the end is like the main thing people. But again, Joel is not. I can't even remember his name. Fuck. Nathan Drake. That's right. Yeah. Joel is not Nathan Drake. He's not the good guy. He's not a Boy Scout. He's a very, very disturbed man. So, him choosing, his needs over like, and another thing as well, I think it's good because it kind of like throughout that whole game, it really makes you, I mean, me personally, like, it's like, is like, you think of like all the things they go through because of other humans. Like the worst stuff happens to you in that game as a result of other human beings, not infected. And when he's obviously faced with, in order to save humanity, Ellie has to die versus saving Ellie and carrying on as they are. It's like, and that's his choice. And I'm really like, this is an example. I think this is a perfect example of where like a choice ending would have completely fucked it up. Like, how in Infamous 2, it's like, oh, you can choose this. It's like, no, like this character would not do that. He would do this. So there's no choice in the matter. Like, this is what you do. Live with it. Like,
I mean, it definitely plays into exactly the sort of character Joel is, I guess. Like, and I mean, the thing is with like the whole like prologue with his daughter, like makes all that stuff make a lot of sense. Like he's I guess been searching, I suppose, for someone to replace his daughter, it seems like, and when he's like,
he's like, as corny as it might sound, like reason to carry on. I mean, because I don't think you actually ever get like an age explicitly, but I mean, he must be like at least in his 50s.
Oh yeah, definitely. But well, I mean, his daughter, I think his daughter's 13. I don't know. I think I might have picked that number out of thin air, but that would put him in about
That
his
looks
30s,
about right,
like,
yeah. And then obviously it's 20
in
years
that
later.
initial sequence, and it's 20 years
So-
later. So yeah, his 50s probably.
And when he
makes
sees
sense.
his brother, his first line, he says, "Damn, you got old."
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like at least in his 50s. But yeah, I think. What do you think of like sequel talk? I saw an article about this. I won't name where it was, but when they were talking about a sequel, and I really got I was like, you kind of missed the whole point of that.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually think there's a pretty. I don't know if you agree, but you know in the scene where you're talking about where she has the comic and the porno mag like in the car.
Hmm.
You remember that? And she says, but like, oh, only one problem, to be continued, and then like has a mini rant about that. Maybe I'm reading way too much into that, but I was like, I don't think there's going to be another one of these.
Yeah, I mean, everything that's came out from Naughty Dog since then is like the Joel and Ellie story is over, which I think is a perfectly reasonable stance to take. Like,
yeah, I mean, like another one of those games, I would be like,
oh yeah, definitely,
all for potentially, but yeah, like Joel and Ellie.
But there's definitely been talk of story DLC which doesn't involve Joel and Ellie, which I'm also all for. Which,
but yeah, as far as like actual. This is then
sequel,
5.
Yeah. It doesn't. Like, yeah, it doesn't need a sequel really. Like, I mean, like the meaningful stuff after like the end of that game, you can just sort of infer, I guess, like what happens with their relationship, and I think it's way more interesting to think about that stuff yourself than just have it spelled out.
It always is. I mean, look at the Matrix. Like, what happens after the end of the Matrix? We found out, and it was garbage. Like, it would have been better if we could just make up our own stories.
Definitely, yeah.
I guess that's pretty much. I guess that's enough about the story.
I guess.
Because I mean, we could like talk about like the.
I just think that game's awesome, and like Ellie's very last like just okay is like it means so much more than like you can just tell just by the look on her face when she says it. It's like it's not like okay, like I believe you. It's like okay, I accept that you are what you are. Like. She fully understands like what Joel is, I guess, and like whether she is understanding of that, I guess, is a different thing. But she doesn't know, I guess, who he is after that, which is really interesting and has some pretty big implications, I guess. That game's awesome.
It really is. It's it's just such a like that game like. Is important for games in general. Like that game shows that like how to really tell a story like in a game, not we have this cool story that might work in a game and we're going to try and cram it around a game. Like no, this is from the very outset they knew they knew how to do this and they absolutely nailed it.
I guess the thing it really does is like it shows how to do it within the confines of like a AAA big budget game. Smaller indie games that are always going to have like interesting, I guess maybe not stories, but just interesting themes and stuff. And that it's more like, I guess that stuff's more abstract and artistic, I guess. But like this is showing how to do like straight up story. Like obviously, there's deeper stuff, I guess, but just on the surface, the story is like is really well done. And it's like, you're not really going to get that from like the smaller games. Like, I don't know, like Fez is never going to tell like a really interesting story just on the surface. It's going to, it's got all this weird shit going on, but like this just shows like how to do it, as a AAA sort of big budget thing. And like, I hope that the lessons from this game are taken on. I mean, my only worry would be that this sort of stuff for at least like, the next couple of years is going to be difficult unless like there is a really, really big budget, because obviously Naughty Dog pretty much have like they can probably get like a blank check from Sony for like the development of the next game just because of the success of like the Uncharted games. And
yeah, true. And I mean, they are like, I mean, as I've said before, like Uncharted is just kind of not my bag, but if you dig that style of game, then you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
With Uncharted, it's a personal preference. I just feel like some of the praise maybe that gets directed at Uncharted, like I feel The Last of Us is far more worthy of that praise.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think that,
like in particular, like characters and dialogue, like I never really like aside from the dialogue itself, like there's not really anything noteworthy about the characters in Uncharted.
I think
Like they are like fairly typical. Like
there, like I think you have to like sort of play those games from start to finish. Like you almost have to play,
I have
like,
played 2. I have played
Yeah.
Uncharted 2.
I don't know. Like I just feel like you can sort of see the building blocks for The Last of Us in Uncharted, just the way like
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I think
Like,
before
that
The
is
Last of Us,
right.
like Uncharted was probably the next stop for sort of character development.
Yeah.
Anyway, like near that sort of level. Like
But
obviously, The Walking Dead, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's. I just feel that like The Last of Us is maybe it's just more my thing. Maybe
yeah.
that's
I mean, it is, like personally, yes, I believe The Last of Us is superior to any of the Uncharted games. So I still think those games are worthy of praise and are worthy, definitely like being recognized as sort of the foundations for
Yeah.
The Last of Us, because they like at the time that Uncharted 2 came out, it was doing stuff with characters that a lot of games just wasn't doing.
Yeah, that's true, and dialogue as well. Like the one
Yeah.
thing I do really
Yeah.
like about Uncharted, the dialogue feels real.
Yeah.
It feels.
And it's completely different tone. Obviously, it's
Oh, yeah.
very light-hearted and sort of upbeat. I guess.
Uncharted is like like the Mummy almost, like the first
Yeah,
Mummy
yeah.
film. Like it's just like it's the blockbuster. Like it has got kind of the peril and that in it, but you never really worry for
No,
the
definitely.
good guy or anything like that. But I think that's enough about the story. I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything else I did want to touch on. I don't think there was. I mean, just everything, like everything about. Like, I'm going through it again at the moment. I'm just going through on like the survivor difficulty.
Yeah.
And I'm still watching every single cutscene.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm not skipping them. I skipped a few early on. But like once you get to like kind of the real character heavy parts with like Bill and Ellie, it's like I'm just watching these again because they're really really good.
Yeah, they're just worth watching. Yeah.
It's should we get Brad back in here?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the one thing I would say is that the Secret Story plays Ellie is awesome.
I'm tempted to say that's the best part of the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
So well, like again, maybe because that bit had the most potential to go so horribly wrong.
Yeah.
But oh my god, that bit was unbelievable.
Yeah, and also the David creepy cannibal man is played by Nolan North, I think.
Oh yeah, he is, isn't he?
Which is also like I didn't recognize that at all until someone mentioned it. Which is cool.
I didn't know that until I actually found out.
That dude, like, it's funny, like he when he's the starring role, it's sort of like, oh yeah, it's Nolan North. But I think when he plays like side characters, it's sort of
Even
that
better.
guy has range. Like
I think
he can play,
it shows off his talent more, really. Like it's Dave is like when you talk about that bit actually. When you meet Dave,
yeah,
you kind of get that feeling like okay, like right off the bat, it's like no, I'm not trusting these at all.
Yeah.
But then you maybe get the idea, maybe this guy's okay.
Yeah.
And then just like as soon as like the main kind of combat section is over and he's talking, it's like nope, this guy's a fucking nutter. Like any minute now, like here comes the line, I'm a nutter, and you find out what that line is, and it's like all right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that, like the bit when like it's after that big combat sequence at whatever it is, like it's like a sawmill or something, and like they're sitting down like back at the fire where the deer is, and then he says like he mentions about Joel, and it's like oh shit, it's like I know where this is going.
And as well, I think that really gives you more. I mean, not really reason, but like it does kind of remind you a little bit about Joel. Like one of the biggest disconnects for me with Uncharted has always been like he's like Nathan Drake is just a mass murderer, and it's too much of a. I mean, it's obvious why that is in the game. It's because you can't really have a third person shooter without shooting a lot of dudes, but. It's such a huge disconnect in the context of the game. It's hard for me to take like the light-hearted stuff serious. It's like no, like you guys are all like serial killers, like almost. Like this is. I don't want to laugh with you people.
Yeah.
Like what I mean. And that bit with Dave, it does a pretty good job of reminding you, like, yeah, Joel's actually,
Yes, yeah, when he says like, oh, some crazy guy came in and like murdered all our dudes.
it's like he's a vicious person.
Like, yeah, if you
is.
don't see it from the perspective of, Joel and Ellie, it's like, yeah, this guy is just as bad as like the people that he's killing, basically.
If not
like,
worse, maybe.
Yeah, if not
like,
worse.
If
yeah.
not worse. Like, he is, he is not a man to be fucked with, like, on any level. So, but yeah, I think we should try and get Brad back in here.
Certainly. I guess add him back.
Yeah, it should be fairly straightforward. But yeah, then we can get into all the gory mechanics.
Yes.
Of The Last of Us.
What?
I like the bit when you murder the dude.
Oh yeah, the bit where he turns into
fucking spoilers, guys.
into an alien.
Fuck.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I shouldn't have picked up the call if I knew you were going to be jerks about it.
So yeah, I guess that closes up the story
stuff.
section of The Last of Us talk. But yes.
So multiplayer.
Have you tried the multiplayer?
Yeah, that multiplayer is amazing. No, I haven't actually.
Me
played
neither.
it yet.
I haven't tried it yet. Good, because I don't.
I hear it's surprisingly good things, which
So do I, but I'm always a little bit skeptical, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway. So lovely mechanics, the gory details.
Yeah, there's the bit where you punch the dude in the throat and he dies.
Oh man, the combat. This is the only game that's ever made me wince. It's not really specific, but it's just where it happened. You know the bit where you like in the abandoned, I think it's like the saw, like before the sawmill, it's like a factory almost. There's this fridge like just on the floor, on its side. And you know how like when you like kind of finish off a dude melee wise, he'll like do something like ram his head into a wall or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just really shows off like the models and everything. Like he grabbed his head and like rammed his head like right into the corner of the fridge. Like right on the corner, and it's like, ooh, oh man, like ouch, like and like the way the blood splatters, it's like it looks real, like it's not like off on another fucking part of the fridge, like it's like no, that splattered as if he just rammed a dude's head into the corner of the fridge. Same thing again happened, like in the apartment block, he did it on a bedpost, like the corner of the bedpost, just like smack. It was like, ooh, damn.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty brutal.
Like the melee combat is it can be a little bit clunky, to be honest. Like it's not mechanically perfect, but damn,
it's not
fucking it's brutal.
Yeah,
it makes you feel like you like hitting a dude. Like it makes all the like the various weapons feel like true as well. Like when you're punching a dude, like it feels appropriate, whereas like hitting a guy with like a wooden plank feels completely different to hitting him with like a pipe.
Yeah,
it's not
just the way they react, I guess.
Yeah,
and like the noise, obviously, there's like the sound design in that game's like fantastic. It's like when you hit a dude with that pipe and you just get that like
that noise is
clang,
so good,
like that metallic
metallic.
It's like ow,
so
that would
good.
Fucking hurt. Like,
what do you think? It's interesting as well, like the melee stuff actually. When you stun a guy, either with fists or melee, have you seen? Like, did you do many of the like grab kills that you can do?
Yeah, like the sort of curb stompy one.
Oh yeah, the first time I saw that, I was like, oh man.
They're pretty brutal. Yeah, like I think the moments where I was like, whoa, it's like obviously like the first time I punched a dude in the throat to kill him, I was like, oh Jesus Christ.
I was a little.
That completely took me by surprise, and then
I think the animation just goes like the way they they
grasp at their throat is like
just kind of go down like I'm
and there's I think you get a machete at some point, and like
like
you just run up to a dude and just hit it like hit square with that, you'll like just ram it into their like torso and then just like lift it up through their like abdomen. It's just like geez. Fucking hell!
I think like the throat impale is pretty fucking brutal. Like the same sort of thing, but you just kind of run up to them and just slash them right in the neck. It just kind of stays in their neck, and they go onto their knees, and he has to like put his foot on them and like rip it out. The axe as well is pretty fucking is pretty nasty. Yeah, the melee combat in that game is really it's really satisfying, but like it's not like la-di-da, bashing a dude's head in. It's like, oh, fuck me, that looked like it hurt. Like,
Yeah. You don't take it lightly, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like the melee combat in like Dead Rising or something where it's like, yeah, sledgehammer, eat it.
Yeah.
Like, it's it really has impact behind it when you take out a dude.
Yeah. And I mean, it's all helped by like Ellie just being like freaked out constantly by like you setting a dude on fire or just like Jesus Christ, like.
Although she does some pretty good shit.
Yeah, like this is like stuff if you get grabbed and she'll sometimes like run up behind a dude and shit him in the back.
What do you think to the brick, the brick kill? Have you done that?
I don't think I did. I never used the brick as like an offensive weapon. I was just used it as
I've already found it out.
Distraction tool.
Yeah, I found it out pretty early. The brick is fucking amazing. Like, that thing, like the lure. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Like they're your lure items. Like you have a bottle and a brick, and you can throw them.
Yeah.
And they'll make noise. The main difference is the brick. If you can use the brick as a melee weapon, and it's like a one-hit kill on whatever you use it on. Like have you not seen the kill itself?
No.
He just like you'll run up to them, and he just like kind of has it in his hand, and it's hard to describe, but like he just kind of like rams it over their head 3 times, and like the final hit, like the brick crumbles, and like the sound is just so good. It's like they like recorded him bashing in a melon with a brick. Like, the sound is just so good. But the brick is like really, really good. You can actually take out a clicker with a brick. Yeah, it's like that is bricks are top tier in this game. The bottles are like, and I don't think the bricks break either if you use them as lures. Like if you
I know that I think they do. I'm sure. Like I've definitely seen bricks.
I know I've chucked one like in an environment where there was no bricks. Like I threw it, killed a dude, went over there, and was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool because if you threw a brick, it probably wouldn't disintegrate. So it's
probably wouldn't break. Yeah.
Whereas if you threw a bottle, like it makes sense for the bottles to be one.
Yeah. Did it like what are the bottles like as melee weapons? Are they?
They don't have an actual melee weapon.
Oh right, okay.
You can throw them, like you can throw it at somebody and it will stun them, but caving a dude's head in, you need to get yourself.
I thought you would like smash it over the head and then like jab them with like the.
Yeah, I was kind of
or something.
That, but no.
That seems like the sort of thing.
It just kind of breaks. But yeah, the brick is it definitely warrants a mention for brutalness. So yeah, like what kind of game would you say it is? Because this is something that like I have kind of an unusual view on, I guess.
I mean, for the majority of it, I did try and play it as a stealth sort of game, but
yeah, no, I mean like sort of like genre, I guess, like third person, because like I've seen like third person action kind of thrown around, or like third person.
Yeah, that
action horror, and it's like
because there are. I mean, that's the thing about the game in general is like even like in elements of its story and the way it plays is like it tries to mix a lot of stuff. It doesn't like I said before, it doesn't have like a one track mind towards story or mechanics. And it's like it is sort of hard to pin down exactly like what.
I keep coming back to survival horror.
Yeah, I mean, like I heard really... a lot of people saying like this is like one of the best survival horror games of all time.
Yeah,
I thought about it for a second. I was like, yeah, actually, it
makes
like
because especially the first time I played through it. I mean, it's not a particularly hard game.
No.
And I'm playing through it again on the survivor mode, and man, it is really fucking worth playing it through.
Yeah, I mean, I started on survivor, I haven't really gotten that far, but
it's like taking away your like hearing thing, like taking that away from you is just such a, that the first kind of major encounter with the clickers where you need to go through that ticket station where there's a shitload of clickers. Remember that bit?
Oh yeah, shit, that bit is intense. Yeah.
Clickers for Brad. Clickers are like they can't see you, but they have really, really amazing hearing. So it's very, very hard to sneak up on them. And at that point in the game, like they're a one-hit kill. Like if they get to you, you can't actually get them off you.
I've heard about these clickers. Why are they called clickers?
They're called clickers because it's like I actually think this is kind of an interesting setup. The different types of infected are as a result of like prolonged infection of a human being. Like the runner, like 28 days later-esque zombie types, they're like the first stage of infection, so to speak. the clickers are like prolonged infection. Like they are like sort of the next stage of having the infection in the human body, and
Right.
that's when they start like physically mutating. Like their head is all like fucked up and growing like new parts, and like they don't have any eyes. They have like kind of overgrowths on their body.
Uh-huh.
Like they're like they can't perceive light at all, which is pretty interesting, like in a stealth way, because you're going through some environments like that one I just mentioned. Like it's really really dark, but there's only a handful of infected in that sequence that can see light, so you can actually have your light on and give you like a little bit of an edge over the clickers, but you need to be careful having light on like around the other.
I don't even think the runners can see light, can they?
They can if you get really close to them.
Oh, right, okay.
They are still pretty much blind to it, but like if you get really close, they will notice it. And I think there's only like the final form really is the bloaters, which is like the big armored fat dudes which like throw like pus bombs at you. It's kind of gross. And they're like the like really really prolonged infection. That's how they like give you different enemy types, which is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that bit on Survivor with the clickers, like it was so fucking tense. I was creeping around. I had one shiv at the time, and that's like the only way you can stealth kill a clicker is you need a shiv or a brick. Throwing that out there, fucking brick. But I didn't have a brick. I only had a shiv. And I think there was 6 clickers. And one of I think it was Tess at the time. She got noticed and like alerted all the clickers, and I was really pissed. So I like was running around the environment like constantly trying to like get away from them to kind of get back into stealth, and they just wouldn't leave me alone. And I got trapped at the end of that section where you get out, and just managed to like throw the Molotov in the perfect spot, and it just set them all on fire. And I survived, and just like sat back and breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, holy shit, I almost died. Like it was just so like that amount of tension, and that would have been completely. You don't have that when you have that hearing ability, because it's like, oh, there's one over there. I'll go kill him. I'll go kill him. Like I'll lure that one away. Like taking that away from you, I think is just really fucking awesome, and a pretty bold choice as well. Like to take that away from you, that is a pretty important part of like playing that game. So I think it's cool.
I mean, you can turn that stuff off just on the lower difficulties, I think. So
can you?
You can actually turn off a lot. So I think you can turn off like you can basically make it survival mode, but make the difficulty lower. I think. Like you can turn off the HUD and stuff, like not have any, or like not have the like little prompts that turn up when you're gonna strangle a dude or whatever.
Oh right, I didn't know that. I think all that stuff is gone on.
Yeah.
Like when you creep up on dudes, like you don't get the triangle, strangle him or stab him, or you don't get the triangle for grab. You don't get the triangle for counter in melee. I think that's the most of them. But yeah, I didn't know you could turn that stuff off. That's pretty cool that you can do that in the lower modes. That's a really interesting idea. But that being said, like so far in survival mode, I don't really find the combat that much different. Like you definitely take more damage and you definitely deal less damage. But it's not like the really lazy, right, one hit you're dead. You have to wail on a guy for half an hour to kill him. You can still like brawl with 2 enemies at most and live. Like if you're careful, it's not. They don't like kind of throttle it to the point where it's not fun. So that's I was really surprised at that. I wasn't really expecting that, to be honest. So, did someone just whisper something?
No.
Yeah, that was my brother.
Oh.
I thought so. I was like, what the fuck was that? Oh man. What are we talking about?
The Last of Us.
So, yeah, the harder difficulties of that really threw me off. Did anybody else hear that? Anything you want to like touch on specifically? I mean, like it's not a terribly deep game, like mechanics wise.
Yeah,
I think there's some interesting stuff.
Like one of the specific things that sort of got me was you can like do the bit where you run up behind a dude and grab him, and you can like you can either strangle him, which just sort of stealthily like puts him down, doesn't make any noise, or shiv him if you've got a shiv, which I think does make noise that enemies can hear. Or you can like use him as a human shield. And like I grabbed a dude, had him as a human shield, and like I think it was when I was playing with my flatmates, and they were like, "Oh, it was like the last dude, and I was like, I grabbed him, but like I didn't strangle him. I was like, oh, what are you gonna do? I was like, fuck it, I'll just press R1 and see what happens. And he does just like blow his brains out. It's like,
Oh, I've never done that.
yeah, you can just straight up shoot. Like you never do it obviously because it's like a waste of a bullet because you could just press square to like kill them. But I mean, the only time I can ever see that being like a thing you would want to do is if you're in like you like want to get rid of a dude quickly. I guess you would maybe shoot him like if like you're already spotted and stuff. You might just shoot him instead of like strangling him because strangling takes fucking ages. Yeah, I mean, I never really got into the stealth until there's like a sequence like towards the end of the game where you're like in those the sort of flooded tunnels.
Yeah.
And there's a sequence where there's like two of the bloater dudes who the big
I remember that bit. Yeah.
crazy dudes. There's like a bunch of clickers, a couple of runners, and it's like that was the one section. Section was really tense because there's a bit where you're sort of forced to walk like directly in front of a clicker, because he's just sort of up against a wall, and it was like, yeah, that bit was really intense because it's sort of hard to tell when they can hear you. So it's just like I was just like I'd walk forward like a step and stop, then just do that, and it took fucking ages to get through. But yeah,
I think cool. Like playing it stealthily, like I must admit, I didn't really start playing that stealthily until probably about halfway through the game. I was like, I think because like the regular combat is pretty easy. Like I was like, I don't really need to stealth my way through this.
Yeah.
But once you get to a certain point, you definitely do, and especially on and it's Survivor, you really have to use stealth to your advantage.
And it's a lot of it's not really like mainlining stealth or combat. It's like a lot of like engaging, like kill a dude, then like flank them, sort of lose like line of sight with the enemy, then like sneak up behind one dude, grab him. It's a lot of like combining the sort of tools that you have to like sort of like wing it through a combat situation. I guess it's like, oh, I'm going to throw a Molotov at this dude, that'll distract everyone, and like come behind this dude, grab him, use him as a human shield. It's like, it's not just like, oh, I'm just going to sit behind this cover, pop up and shoot everyone. Like,
I mean, that doesn't work. Like the enemies the enemies are quite clearly programmed to surround you. Like,
and they're like this. They are not stupid. They don't just do like typical enemy stuff like, oh, I'm just going to pop up from this cover for no reason. It's like, no, I'm going to hide until you show your face. It's like, you dickhead. It's like, just pop up, let me shoot you. It's like,
that like I like how a lot of the like big combat sections, I mean, I'm mainly finding this out going through it on Survivor, they're actually optional, which I think is pretty incredible. I don't know if you remember it, but the part where you get to kind of the second main like hunter chapter, like after the car bit, like the second part of that, where you're going through, I think it's an old library. Do you remember that bit?
Oh god, sort of.
You get to a military checkpoint, and then you have to like go through the checkpoint, go through like I think it's like a 2-story library, and then you get your way, like you have to fight your way through the library. But I played that through on hard, like on Survivor, and I didn't know you could do it, but I just kind of crept around like the left-hand side of the checkpoint, and I actually just snuck through the entire bit and just came out the other side. I didn't kill a single person. Oh no, I lie. I shot a dude in the head with a bow and arrow because that is badass.
Oh yeah, the bow and arrow is awesome.
Bow and arrow is so fucking cool.
I heard you don't have to shoot people in the heads with the bow and arrow there.
Yeah,
you have to shoot people. Of course you do. Otherwise, you're not doing it right.
No, but apparently you can shoot them anywhere the fuck you like, and it's still a one-hit kill.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't really use the bow too much, to be honest, on my first run. I don't think it is if you get them in like the leg or anything.
No, it totally is. As long as they haven't detected you yet.
Yeah, that's what people were saying, but I'm sure.
So is that more like a stealth kill mechanic then?
Yeah, but you can hit them in the hand, and it's a stealth kill.
Well, okay, that's kind of gay. Anyway, but yeah, like that was the only part, and I was really surprised you could do that. I was like, I got through that whole bit. Like that would have taken me probably like half an hour to stealth my entire way through it and kill everybody. I just like stealthed through it and didn't kill anybody, and it took me like 4 minutes. Like that sort of freedom is just not in many games. Like it's like that is real freedom in a game. Like it's not, here is quite obviously what is supposed to be a really long encounter, but if you want to play it really stealthily and just avoid everything, you can totally do that. Like that's awesome. That is really cool. So that kind of sucks about the bow and arrow though, being that's going to make me feel way less cool the next time I shoot a dude in the head.
After carefully lining up that shot,
he doesn't know I'm there.
You could have just shot him anywhere you like.
Yeah, but it's fun to go up to his body with the arrow in it and get it back.
Yes. Oh, I think that's the advantage to shooting dudes in the head. Is it seemed like that is the way to get your arrows back. Like if you shoot them in the body, they tend to break. I think.
That's cool.
I could
be
wrong.
cool if it is zonal.
Like, it seemed like the more like that lined up pretty well. It's like if I got a hide shot, it was I'd be able to get the arrow back.
I think like the arrows are just more prone to break on the harder modes. Like I've only had a handful of arrows like hitting dudes in the head that I could actually go back and get again.
Yeah.
Which is realistic to a point, but I mean, that is a cool little mechanic. It's like if I get a dude in the head, I can actually, it gives you a reason to, be more accurate and line up that shot. Because like the bow, like I think it's pretty cool that the gunplay feels like a little bit artificially gimped, so to speak. Like sometimes you can have like your crosshair like on a dude's head, and the bullet will just miss his head completely, and it's like, well, that's kind of like there's sort of like like a realism feel and like a a tactile feel to gunplay, and there's like that's just kind of frustrating because I took the time to line up that headshot because I wanted to kill him with one bullet because I have like 5 bullets left and there's 5 dudes, and my bullet didn't go into the dude's face, and it should have. That's kind of annoying, but for the most part, I think the gun combat and the combat in general is just really satisfying. It's like really like it feels like it just really has impact to it. Like no matter what you do, like even if you're just killing infected, like you're not just killing them like willy nilly, like just killing zombies. This is all good fun. Like ramming zombies' heads into fridges is like ouch, holy shit, that must hurt. So I like that stuff.
I guess that's Last of Us.
I guess there's more stuff we could talk about.
Soundtrack's good, I thought.
Yeah, soundtrack's really good.
Really awesome. Obviously looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, how have we not talked about that? Holy shit, this game looks ridiculous.
Yes.
I mean, oh my god, like this game looks incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, totally.
From top to bottom. Like I really like I knew I wrote this down for a reason, and I knew it because I knew we were going to talk about graphics. Like all the small details in the world actually being detailed is incredible. Like you go into certain houses and they have like bookshelves and you can actually see like individual books. They have pictures on the shelves of like the family, and they actually have like discernible faces, and like the attention to detail on that stuff is unreal. Like there's one bit near the beginning of the game. There's a dartboard on the wall, and like it's a full dartboard. You can see all the numbers, you can see all the wire, you can see all the individual like sections of the board. It's not just like PS1 texture to look kind of like a dartboard. Like you can tell that is supposed to be.
I think the way I've heard it described is like there's like a depth to the world, I guess, which it sort of makes sense. It's like there's a lot of stuff, and it's like it feels like the world is lived in. It's not just like here's like this room, but it's like sort of just empty, I guess. Like definitely. There's stuff on desks, and there's stuff like desks, in corners, and there's
clothes like in corners, like there's clothes in wardrobes, like there's stuff in lockers. It's not just like generic video game background, like
and like everything's like square, I guess. It's like
one bit that I think does warrant particular note. The very first part of the game where Joel gets his gun, just avoid spoilers.
Yes.
Remember? Yeah. Yes. You're probably not going to do it your first time. My second time I actually went closer, and you can see him take out each individual bullet and put it in the gun. Like, that's not just an animation. Like that is actually happening. Like, he's actually doing that, and like that level of detail is just not something.
And like the thing that gets me sort of excited is like this can be done on 8-year-old hardware. So like
This is not done on a PS3. This is Black Magic.
yeah, but so like what else, like what can be done like next generation? Just
It
like
makes me. There was a couple of games like it last gen, to be honest. Far Cry on the Xbox was one of them. Where like a game will come out on these platforms and it's like that final thing that raises the bar. It's like, okay, PS4 and Xbox One, you really need to like come out swinging to
when like the next gen is, every game is like the quality of The Last of Us. That's when we know like the next generation is truly arrived.
Yeah, when like The Last of Us is the bar. Like,
yeah, or when you look back at The Last of Us and go, oh yeah, that game was really interesting. It's funny how games have like developed on that, and like it's sort of hard to go back and play The Last of Us because everything now is better than it. Like that is when.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's hard to say if that would. I don't.
I mean, I think you could go back to Far Cry and say like, oh, there are interesting things, but yeah.
No, I mean, I think. Sorry,
games
did I say Xbox Far Cry? Yeah, I meant the what was it called? The final like Xbox
Instinct,
Far Cry. Yeah.
Predator.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like just like the way it looked. I mean, I haven't gone back and played it, but yeah, it probably doesn't look as good as I remember it looking. But yeah, it's like I don't think The Last of Us will ever look bad.
Oh no. Well, I don't want to say never, because like I think like there's like PS2 games that I like at the time I was like, oh god, nothing is ever gonna look better than this, and then like I look back now and like
I don't know about that. I mean, like PS2 was still very like polygonal limited.
I guess, but I
mean like you look at The Last of Us and
I still think we're gonna look back and I just
there
think
are some games that I think there are some games that just through whether like just technical like masterminds, like they will never look shit,
I guess
it's I'm trying to think of some that I've played recently. I haven't really played many like older games recently, but just because of like they look so good and they do a certain thing, like they're obviously doing tricks, but
I mean I think
work.
Ico and Shadow of the Colossus still look awesome, and they're last gen games. God, Metal Gear Solid 3 still looks pretty good.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 looks like shit though.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching that Metal Gear Solid 2 speed run, and I was like, yeah, this game really was blocky as
It's
heck.
funny, like that. To hear people talk about, like, people say like that Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer blew people away, and like I can't really remember watching it, but I think I did, and I think it did obviously blow me away at the time. But like if you look back at it now, it's like really not that impressive at all. But like I think it's just this thing you've got to have like hindsight. Really, you've got to look back in 5 years and say like, yeah, this thing either still looks good or.
I mean, there are some. I think like once you get to a certain point in the past, like I mean, like no PS1 game still looks good.
No,
on a technical level, like on an artistic level, maybe. Yeah. Like not technically. Like no PS1 game you would like say, yeah, this actually is aged pretty well. Like.
I don't know. Escape looks pretty good, you guys.
I remember. I was thinking it was. I was at work. I was just on my break, and I was watching. I found a Tekken 2 combo video, which was like really insane. It made me. It was like I did not know how to play Tekken 2 when I was a kid. And like looking at it, it was like holy shit. Like Kazuya's legs are like fucking rectangles. Oh my god. Like I actually thought this game looked amazing when I first played it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think games like now will ever get to that point. Like, I don't think like The Last of Us might age in certain aspects, but I don't think you'll ever look at it and be like, oh god, this is fucking.
Yeah.
I can't.
I mean, yeah, you don't. I mean, PS2 games don't look well. Like the majority of PS2 games don't look fantastic now, but you're not looking back and be like, oh god, I can't play this. It's like
I can't tell whether this is a face or an arm. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I think like Persona 3 still looks alright. Obviously Persona 4 by association. Like those games still look alright, but they're quite stylized, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought one actually. Resident Evil 4, that's a pretty good one. That still looks good.
That's like, alright. I mean, there's still things about it, but like
like the textures and that are obviously not.
Yeah, it's quite a brown game as well. I guess.
But I mean, like it still looks impressive. Like that you can still play that game, and I mean, like think like that game's 10 years old almost.
Yeah.
It's like this still looks pretty damn good. So.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you've convinced me. Maybe we'll look back at The Last of Us and still say this looks pretty rad.
And even not, we'll like kill a dude with a brick and be like, dude,
yeah, whatever. Even if I
you really need to do that, John, because seriously.
yes, that's the thing, because I'm at my parents at the minute, so I don't have a PS3. But first thing I do when I get back is kill a dude with a brick.
Get brick. Bricks.
Get brick.
Oh,
Brick a dude.
You don't need a PS3 to kill a dude with a brick.
Yeah, I suppose I could just go out
You just
tonight.
need a brick.
you could just go out and kill a dude with a brick. But I mean,
I'll compare it. I'll compare it to the last one.
Yeah.
It's just brick
That-
shit.
And then you can truly comment on how.
yeah,
you know,
how realistic is it? Just how realistic
It's
are the brick sound effects? Yeah.
I'll get right on that.
Alright,
Okay, I guess that is enough.
I'll be looking for that news story.
Of The Last of Us. That is all I played this week. That brings me to an end.
Okay, Bradley.
Did you play
Yeah.
anything else, John, or was that it? Or...
I played a bit of Dirt 3, which is awesome. But
I thought you said Dota 3, and I was like, why do I?
yeah, I played a bit of Dirt 3. I was on the front of Gabe. He gave us an advanced copy.
He also let you play Half-Life 3 and Left 4 Dead 3.
Left 4 Dead
and
3.
Team
Yeah,
Fortress 3 at the same time.
it was pretty rad.
Wow.
He suddenly discovered a new number.
Yeah, they're all sort of shit. Like Half-Life 3 is a bit shit.
How's Left 4
Okay.
Dead 3?
That's all right.
There
I don't
are
know.
any new
Bill's,
infected?
Bill's back. Zombie Bill.
Zombie Bill. Oh,
Yeah,
Zombie Bill.
still on the lookout for pills. Yeah, but I played a bit of Dirt 3, which is a pretty good racing game, which I think I've talked about a lot. Actually, I was like sort of blown away by how good that game looks. Also, just playing like in the cockpit view with like all the HUD stuff turned off is probably one of the best racing experiences I think you can have anywhere.
That game's like 15 quid now. Should I get it?
I mean, if you like rally racing, I guess.
We'll get onto it in a minute. But I bought a racing wheel. And
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you did.
So
That
yeah,
game will
helped.
probably be pretty cool with a racing
Yeah,
wheel.
So I need to buy racing games now. So
Yeah, like there's something about that game, just like the intensity of like, especially during like the Trailblazer events, which are like racing with like these ridiculously overpowered cars on like dirt tracks. It's just insane. It's just completely crazy. It's like, you know, edge of the seat, like, oh shit, I am like literally right on the edge of any sort of control. Like one like misstep and I will flip off the edge of this canyon and die a fiery death. It's like,
That's good.
yeah, that game.
How simish does it get if you turn all the assists off? Comparable to
it gets I don't like I'm not sure like the simulation-ness of like rally games, because I don't know, it like that stuff's weird. Like I don't really know how like rallying actually works in real life.
Sure.
But, I don't know, like that game can be like hard, which I guess is like how I would.
You can lose control of the car really.
Yeah,
relatively
yeah,
easily.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Especially on like, you know, the crazy dirt tracks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine.
That game's awesome. If you like racing or rallying or whatever, you should definitely pick it up.
Cool.
I don't think I played anything else. I watched my sister play Journey, which was really cool actually, because she'd like seen a video of it on YouTube and was like, oh, do you have this? And I was like, yeah. And well, could you bring your PS3 to my house? I was like, fine. And I have like a, you know, fat PS3. It was like that thing weighs a lot.
You have the dumbbell PS3.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was fun watching someone else play that game, I guess. And just like not really, I try to like not tell her anything about it, I guess. So like when a person like popped into the game randomly, she was like, oh, what? Who's this? I don't understand what's going on anymore. And then she was like, is that a real person? I was like, yep. It's like, huh, okay. And then yeah, it was cool. And just getting her sort of interpretation of like game doesn't really have a massive story, but getting her interpretation of what was going on and stuff was cool.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I could watch that game being played until the end of time. It's
Is
just
that the first time you watched someone play that through?
yeah, pretty much.
The guy who I went around his house and played, because obviously I don't have a PS3, but he's watched like 6 people play that game.
Yeah, it's sort of it is it's weirdly like voyeuristic, I guess, like just getting there sort of.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting there like
It's so unconventional. Like,
Yeah.
really.
Definitely. And she was. I was talking to her today. Actually, she was like, "Oh, it took me like 2 days to like get over that game." It's like I was still thinking about it, and like I watched someone else play it on YouTube. I was like, "Yeah, I've infected you with journeyness. You want to just watch people play Journey until the end of time because that game's awesome." And I really want them to announce whatever the hell their new game is.
Flowered.
Because yeah, I think they like moved offices recently or something. I think like a couple of people left the studio, but
Chen.
yeah, I think Genova Chen's still there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still there, but the woman, can't remember her name.
Yeah, Kaylee Santiago. Am I getting that?
Maybe. Sure, I'm gonna go with yes.
I think she went
She-
off to do like, God, what the hell? I can't remember. But yeah, Journey is awesome. And I watched my brother play some Fable 3, which is a pile of shit, as far as I can tell. Like, because I think that was like that's like
It's
still
free on
Xbox
Xbox
Live for some reason.
Out of gold.
Yes.
No, the reason is obvious why that game is free.
That game is like the combat seems really boring. The cutscenes are like
You can hold people's
PS2
hands, though.
quality. Like it's all just like in-game animations and stuff, and all the in-game animations are terrible.
Yeah. You know, Fable. I always think Fable's such a weird series. Like,
I like the first one, I think.
no, yeah, I think the first
What
one
do you
is.
think?
I think the first one is amazing. I think that is easily the best game in that series.
Yeah.
But it was weird. You know, like they started off with Fable, like which in a lot of ways was like pretty different at the time.
Hmm.
And it was Fable 2. It was like, yo, it's Fable with a dog, and that's pretty much it because we really lazy and whatever. I mean, I haven't even played Fable 3. I don't really want to, from what I've heard. But you know, Fable 3 is just like this abomination of garbage. It's like, how do you do that? Like,
Yeah,
how do you-
it just seemed. I don't
Like,
know.
how
it
do
just
you
seemed
have this really
lazy.
awesome idea and like, you know, just not know what to do with it?
Yeah, like all the voice acting was terrible. All the like the end of that game is like the final boss, I guess, is just so like underwhelming. Yeah, that game just, and I think my brother completed it in like 11 hours for like, you know, like it's ostensibly like open world RPG. That seems
pretty bad,
really
yeah.
short.
I think
like-
my first playthrough of The Last of Us, I think, was 12 hours.
yeah, I don't know. It doesn't tell you that, does it? Anyway, or...
It tells you when you saved it. You know, your save games. If
Oh,
you just
okay.
like go into your saves, it will tell you how long.
I wonder how long mine was.
I think
Probably.
mine was 11 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah,
my
I played
first
mine
playthrough.
over like quite a few days, so it might have been a bit longer just from like loading up and getting used to where the hell I was and stuff. Yeah, but I didn't play anything else except for really Dirt and The Last of Us. So, Brad, you said you didn't play anything?
Oh, what?
Oh.
Nothing, but not a lot.
Okay.
I literally can't remember what I played over the last week. Like,
Racing games?
didn't really have a lot of time due to final project of the year stuff. But yeah, I tried a new racing game. I downloaded Race Room Racing Experience, which is some free-to-play racing thing, and it was okay. I don't even think I need to talk about it more than that. It's like
Okay.
some semi-simish racing game, and it's free to play. So, you know, maybe try it. I don't know. Can't hurt you. Other than that, played a bit more StarCraft, because StarCraft's pretty good. Yeah.
it is.
I
Oh,
played...
Brad, I had a question about that real quick.
Yeah?
StarCraft, is there a version? Can you get like the Heart of the Swarm and StarCraft like in the same sort of package now?
I don't actually think they sell one like
Hearing
that.
about
No.
that. Oh, okay. Because I was like, I really want to get that. Just try it out. But if I'm going to get it, I want to get both. So
Oh, okay.
I swear I remember
Uh,
hearing that somewhere. But
Is Heart of the Swarm still like, is it like as big as, or nearly as big as like, you know, StarCraft 2 vanilla, I guess? Like,
Yeah, like the multiplayer is obviously the same, but they changed balance and units and things like that. So it plays a lot differently from
Yeah.
the
But, I mean, it's
multiplayer
like-
in
it's
Wings
like
of Liberty.
this-
But
is
the single
scene
players-
still like...
oh, the scene, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I just thought it was. I guess it's my only real like exposure to StarCraft is like hearing Brad on the Bombcast talk about it. So it's like now
Well,
that he's
all
like
Dota, so
all
he
in
doesn't
Dota now,
talk
like
about it
yeah,
anymore.
you don't really hear about it, but I guess it probably still is.
I'm currently
just-
watching a stream that has 61,000 people watching it.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Not bad.
dudes.
It's not bad at all. But it's not as big as like League of Legends and stuff. League of Legends is disgustingly popular considering how bad it is.
Oh,
Shots
I've
fired.
played enough League of Legends. I have played, I don't know, probably like 20, 30 hours of League of Legends to realize that I don't really want to play a MOBA because they're pretty simple.
Is League of Legends like bigger in like Asia than Dota, or
Wait, let me think this through. Dota isn't out in Asia yet because
oh okay.
licensing stuff. Valve are trying to organize it through like Nexon, I think, is the publishing group that they're going through to get that out in Asia. I think it's Nexon. Can't remember. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's not like completely available in Asia yet. But League of Legends is, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
So it probably is more popular.
Okay.
I had to guess.
That always seems like the thing is like, it was like especially with like multiplayer games is like, I guess because just of where we live, I think people sort of don't ignore the Asian market, but almost forget about it. And like, you see games like World of Tanks, which just doesn't really exist in like, like Western Europe and like America and stuff. But like that game is like massive, and it's like in like Russia and like China and stuff. It's like it's crazy. Like like I really have no idea what that game is, but apparently it's got like 50 million subscribers or something crazy. It's like that's insane. It's like
Indeed.
yeah.
Where was I? Can't even remember. Oh, StarCraft. Yeah, played a bit of that on ladder. I finally got my ass handed to me by a Terran, which was funny because I've been doing the same thing since Heart of the Swarm came out, and it seems like Terrans have finally worked out how to stop it. So that was amusing. And just I'm still undefeated in PvP. I'm very happy to say in Protoss versus Protoss mirror matchup. I haven't lost a single game in Heart of the Swarm, which is quite pleasing to see I can keep that record. But what else did I play that's actually worth mentioning? More Animal Crossing.
Did you say worth mentioning?
Yeah, definitely worth mentioning. I paid off my first loan, got a bigger house. What else did I do? Went to the island. There's like a tropical island, and you can catch loads of bugs and shit. Games. It's just something just like you can pick it up for an hour or two every day. Just stick around in it a bit, kind of relaxing. Like you can do it whilst doing other stuff. It's not really too taxing at all. And that was fun. I didn't play anything this week. To be honest, I didn't.
I did. Like the guy I live with who plays Animal Crossing, like 90% of the stuff that he's been posting on Twitter has been about Animal Crossing. It's sort of disturbing, I guess.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What stuff has he been posting? Can you read a few out?
Oh God.
Go on his Twitter profile quickly.
I don't know if anything is particularly interesting or not.
I'm just interested to see what.
I think it's a lot of like designing T-shirts and stuff.
Oh shit! Really? Oh okay.
Which
I designed the logo for our town.
Okay.
I called our town River Run, obviously, because it was the only. I think I mentioned this. It was the only game with its name. And then I drew a little on the little flag that you have. I drew a little river and then a little castle.
Yeah. Nothing is particularly interesting, but it is a lot of just Animal Crossing bullshit, which none of it really makes any sense to me.
What's that?
Like Jeff Gersman of GiantBomb.com fame has also been posting a lot of Animal Crossing stuff, which is So I've been like through osmosis absorbing
everything you need to know about Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I don't know. He's talking about throwing a dude off a bridge and then
what?
I think he may have been joking, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that tweet. I'm building a bridge at the moment as well. Fuck yeah, getting an extra bridge.
So is that game good? Is that thing good? I guess I should say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sweet.
I also played some more not Animal Crossing, some Arma 3. If you switch to the development build now on Arma 3, you actually get the beta version, which I guess has more vehicles and shit, because the mission we did last night, the Giant Bomb PC Game Hub did another one of their Arma game nights. They seem to do everyone every Saturday. And the mission we did had some sick stealth helicopter, which then proceeded to get shot down because it wasn't very stealthy multiple times. That was amusing. That game's really good. It's really fucking good.
Cool.
I can't recommend it enough.
Okay, so I guess moving on to, I suppose, the sole news story from this week. Uh,
Yeah.
probably
Pretty
one of
much, yeah.
probably one of the strangest things I've heard in a while. So I mean, if you've been living under a rock, I guess a while ago, or well, probably about a month ago, wasn't it? Or was it earlier? Later? I can't remember. Basically, the Microsoft announced that the Xbox One would have a bunch of pretty crazy DRM stuff, and yeah, a lot of people sort of went up in arms, like, oh, it's taking away consumer rights, etc., etc. Sony then proceeded to sort of butt fuck them at E3 by just like saying, yeah, we're not gonna have any of this shit. We're better than those dudes. Cue like people going crazy in the stands at E3, and everyone just freaking out and saying that Microsoft were dead and posting gifs of like Kaz Hirai like stabbing fucking Don Matrick and stuff. A lot of those were
Some of
legitimately
those are pretty funny.
hilarious. Yeah, so this week Microsoft basically announced that a lot of the DRM stuff that they announced just isn't happening anymore. They've basically made a complete U-turn and
You
said,
could say they did a 180.
don't, oh,
Don't.
fuck you,
Oh,
Jesus
no.
Christ.
Boo!
Right, Brad's
You
not
know,
allowed to talk anymore.
I just reminded me of something. Speaking of gifs, have you guys seen that 7 gif of the Xbox One?
Oh, is it the Say My Name one? No, that's something else, isn't it? That's
No,
Breaking
the
Bad.
one at the end of 7, where Kevin Spacey is like.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I think it rings a bell, but
That one is pretty damn good.
there's a one. I think it's from Breaking Bad where it's like Kaz Hirai saying to Don Matrick like, "Say my name, say my goddamn name" or something. It's pretty fucking funny. Yeah, and there's the one I think we talked about, maybe the Red Wedding one where Kaz Hirai kills like Don Matrick, like the way Catelyn Stark gets killed.
Oh, right.
Like just walks up behind him, just like his throat. It's pretty fucking funny. Yeah. Anyway, they basically issued a statement saying like
it's all completely gone, isn't it? I have read it, but I don't really.
It's like your feedback matters. Like oh god, I'm gonna have to find the fucking statement now. But
Could
it's
have
like
just said like we saw PS4 pre-orders. I'm like, oh fuck.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that was a lot of the buzz was like,
let's be serious here.
Amazon pre-orders were like, they were doing them like.
I thought it was all. 74% of it was PlayStation.
Yeah. So, something to there was.
They were getting absolutely just demolished in pre-orders. Yeah. Which is why it's happened.
So let's just. They posted something on that same page that they posted all the stuff about like. You're gonna have to do a 24-hour online check-in, and it's like, that's saying
like, this is all wrong. Go to this other page where we explain.
Yeah.
You don't have to check into the internet at all anymore, apart from when you first set up the console, because there's a day one download.
Okay. An internet connection will not be required to play offline Xbox One games. You can trade in, lend, resell, gift, and rent disc-based games just like you do today. You can still, download games from Xbox Live on the day they're released. At retail. Xbox One games will be playable on any Xbox One console. And so this I guess this stuff this is affected is like the sharing stuff. Like a lot of that stuff isn't going to exist anymore. Like how you could like, oh, this is on my like shared games list, so like friends and family can't like play that stuff anymore. But
I guess there's people complaining about that somewhere.
Yeah, but there was this. I mean. Take a lot of this stuff with a pinch of salt, like the rumor stuff. But there was a guy who like said he was a Microsoft employee, and he said he was basically like heartbroken by the fact that Microsoft had done this because they destroyed a lot of the work that went in like the sharing stuff. But the way he described the family sharing stuff seemed like completely terrible, because it was like sharing a game basically meant you were giving your family and friends or whoever is on your shared games list or whatever like a 45-minute demo of the game. It wasn't like they could just play the game like start to finish. They got like a short demo of that game. I assume just from like it was like you start the game and get like 45 minutes of playtime or something like that. which makes all that sharing stuff not seem as interesting as it was initially. Which I guess means that this whole thing is so good because I imagine the extra backlash they would have got when people were like, okay, right, got this DRM stuff, but it allows them to do like the sharing stuff, and then they find out the sharing stuff is complete dog shit as well. It's like that would have been really bad for them, I guess.
It's just like their initial, like the way they put this stuff across just wasn't great either. It's
no.
It wasn't like here's all this, pretty, ball breaking stuff, but it's actually going to be really cool. It was like, no, here's all this ball breaking stuff. Hold that piece, and then that was it.
Yeah.
They didn't really justify it. They didn't really do a good job justifying it.
Yeah,
that's
the word, I guess.
This is the way it is. They kind of did what Sony did with the PS3. It's like, yo, PS3 is fucking everything. Everything else can go fuck itself. See ya in November when you buy one.
Jobs.
Yeah, and then everybody was like, nah, I'm going to get a 360. It's like, yeah, that's like what happened.
You know what sucks most about this? You can no longer play without a disc.
Yeah, I guess.
Unless you buy a download only. Which is fucking crap, because that was one of the only things I liked about the Xbox One. I personally didn't care about all this DRM stuff, mainly because although my internet does crap out all the time, that doesn't bother me that much, and the whole trading in games is something I never do anyway. So I wasn't particularly against the Xbox One's DRM policies.
I don't really.
I just thought the Xbox One sounded like a worse proposition than the PS4. And once you take away the whole, now you have to put the fucking disc in every time you want to play a game, well, there's literally nothing going for it for me right now.
Yeah.
So there are people who I've seen been getting pretty up in arms about that particular point, which I think is stupid.
Is putting a disc in really that big a fucking deal?
But still, it was like neat enough for me.
Yeah, that's true.
That totally needs to be a thing now.
I like my discs though.
Discs are done. I guess now that you can buy stuff on the same day that it's released at retail.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Although my download speed at home is still diabolical, so still
I don't really mind. I prefer for me personally, like my ideal way of doing it is like the Steamworks method. Like my BioShock Infinite, it's a physical copy, but I just install it off the disc onto Steam. And then I don't have to use the disc, but I'm still happy because I can look up and see, oh look, BioShock Infinite. There's,
that's the way.
That's exactly the way I want to do it.
That is the way you do it.
That was the Xbox One way originally, and now it's not.
That kind of sucks. Like that they've got rid of a pretty good plus side of it. I mean, I'm not real. I don't care about having to put discs in to play games, but when it works the way it does, with Steam, like it is cool. Like it's cool that. You get to have the best of both worlds. You get your box, you get your discs, you get that physical copy, but you can just boot up Steam and and go. I really like that.
I guess the other interesting story that came off this was Cliffy B sort of ranting on Twitter and getting a lot riled up. Basically, saying that the way Microsoft had it before was the right way, and that doing this will now there's just going to be microtransactions in every game.
Really, I don't know what the word is, but he's become very one-track minded. It seems since he's left Epic.
He's been. I don't know. It's weird. He's he just seems like all he does is spend his days on Twitter ranting at people.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he just needs to be developing games and shut up, basically. Nothing he said, I guess, is really went down that well.
But I don't really think trading in games and shit, like what you mentioned earlier, Brad. I didn't give a shit about that. I don't trade in my games. I don't buy used games, unless it's fucking. A PS1 game that you can't find. You know what I mean? New games, I don't buy them used. I don't trade in my games.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't really give a shit. But like it or not, it is a very, very, it's a big point for a lot of people. So, for him to I think it's the way he says things. It's oh, this is the way it is, and I don't have to do this, so. Whatever. It's but there's a lot of people,
Yeah.
You know, like if you're young, for example, like if you don't have a job, you're 12, but you love games. You know, it's not really. I mean, call it what you will, but it's like you can't really expect a 12-year-old with no income to buy new games every month.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to do that?
And like, you shouldn't be like berating them for, you know, taking like a really, it's not like it's some illegal thing like buying a used game. It's like, I can buy this game for, you know, way cheaper than it is new. It's like, yeah, you can't really like be against like kids doing that. I guess.
Yeah, like, you know, the 12-year-old
choice.
goes into GameStation and buys whatever, you know, Gears of War, is not thinking, oh yeah, man, I'm fucking over Epic buying this game used.
Yeah.
They're probably thinking, fuck yeah, I get to play Gears.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing that annoys me, is it's like developers being like up in arms about, oh, you shouldn't buy used games because it hurts the developer, but it's like no one's going in thinking that. I don't think. Like,
yeah.
And there's maybe a very small minority that.
There's the odd like fucking fuckweed that you hear,
but
in
like
game shop that you just want to punch in the face.
You know, like
But,
the average dude sees a game cheaper, you know, he's probably going to buy that one. It's like,
I just think like my main problem with it is like and I think this is where like I do. I don't know if you guys saw. I know you might have seen this actually, Brad. You know, Total Biscuit, the like.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube dude, whatever his name is. I don't know what to call him, like, you know, YouTube personality or whatever.
Yeah.
If you see his video that he put up about someone posted it in the Giant Bomb thread, I think that's how I found it. And he like talks about used games and stuff, and like when he used to work at Game, and I think that's the thing that does kind of like when I think about it, it is a little bit annoying. You know, they put up like, you know, a used copy of The Last of Us for 37 quid next to the 40 quid one. You know, people that don't know are going to buy the cheaper one. Like, I just think, you know, if more people knew, like, maybe they would think, yeah, it actually is kind of worth the extra £2 fucking pound. So, you know, the developer actually sees money from this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
If more people knew that, then maybe, like, you know, people would be more inclined to buy new, you know? But,
that's why, like, the old digital, like, distribution stuff needs to just take off, because it takes out like the whole
ways. I mean,
I guess, but I mean, it needs to be on the content. It needs to be like the way that everyone buys games. Like,
yeah, but I see what you're saying, but like that would really piss me off because I really like having that physical copy.
Yeah, I guess.
You know,
I mean,
like it's sort of why I don't buy as many games on Steam as I probably would. It's like, you know, I don't want to have like a 100 games just be in a list, you know. And I'm not old. Like, you know, it's not like I was born in the 50s and I was like, oh, you know, it's just a very personal thing for me. I like having that copy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like once like if that does happen, and I assume it will very soon, it's like that just gets rid of like all the like distribution costs to, you know, retailers. They are no longer getting their share of the sales and stuff, and it's just like,
John, also, you know, it'd be amazing when that happens, is if we stop getting fucked over on release dates. That'd be really nice, wouldn't it?
That would be awesome.
You remember, guys, how long fucking Darksiders 2, like the difference there was between that coming out like everywhere and fucking England?
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. It was
like I still think we'd still have release date bullshit probably.
I would fucking murder someone if that happened. That's like it's fucking digital, you bellends.
I mean, there are quite worldwide releases though. Like it's not as bad as it used to be.
The PSN store is a major like fucking culprit in this. Is like there's loads of stuff that's just on the US store, the Japanese store that just doesn't get released in the EU for some fucking bizarre reason. It's like, what? Like, I don't understand why you need like 2 different publishers to put a digital copy on like the PSN store. Like, but that makes no fucking sense. Like, Jesus Christ. Just, I mean, I don't fully understand the business mechanics of it, but surely just putting
there's probably more bullshit.
I guess,
you know, we know about, but I mean.
And maybe that's one of the reasons this hasn't really happened yet, is like the bullshit of like Microsoft and Sony maybe being a bit weird with their stores and stuff. And there's the whole thing that like a lot of people talk about now is like Microsoft's system where you have like slots where like a publisher, like based on, you know, whatever bullshit Microsoft can come up with, has like a certain amount of slots that they have to fill like per year on like XBLA. So like that makes it like you can't do like self-publishing. Like you have to find like a publisher, and it makes it sort of fucked for like games like Fez and stuff. Like I think Fez had a pretty tough time like actually coming out just because finding someone who was like, yeah, we'll put this out. It's like really tough. Yeah, those. I guess those systems need to be fixed before we can, fully.
Well, didn't
embrace
Sony
digital.
touch on that about the PS4? They say like they're gonna.
Yeah, they're
gonna do
really
away with all
embracing
that
that
shit.
stuff, which is awesome.
What do you how like far away do you guys think complete digital distribution is?
Do you mean like
Because
like,
this is
the
something
removal
that
of retail, or just everything is
everything
on
like
digital
everything
stuff?
that can like not necessarily movies and like keep it really to games, but like basically the eradication of discs. Because I know like there's some people talking about it at work, and it's a pretty interesting topic. And there were people that were like, yeah, it's like 5 years away, and I was like, what? Like the main reason
I don't know. Like
I think the main reason a lot of people like think it that way, like people make it's an obscene profit margin on a disc sale. Like that's the thing that goes in the favor of discs. It's like 50p or something to make a disc.
Yeah.
It's literally in the thousands of % profit margin. Like that's not going to go away ever until those companies can replace it with something else. Like,
But I mean, I think that
it's
by doing it digitally, they take away even that tiny like nominal cost of like printing per CD. It's like then now that's gone. That's even like that was.
Yeah, but it's the profit margin they lose. It's like it's
But
like
I mean, how
they do
they're not.
they do save money
Oh,
on the production.
do you mean by like the people who just won't buy digital? Like,
Yeah, well, no, not really. I mean, like you look at I can't remember what the exact numbers on it, but it was in Michael Pachter did a really good breakdown of it in one of his like posts, like his like kind of like what they call it was like figures breakdown he does, and it was like, really interesting because like that sort of information is not stuff you really like solid information. Like you get a lot of it kind of thrown around. I find it interesting to get that stuff from a reliable source, and say what you will about him, but that is certainly something that he knows about. And it's like sort of the point for like digital distribution. Like the main reason it's so far away from being completely digital is because of the money Sony and Microsoft make off discs. It's like
oh right, okay.
If they go completely
You're talking about
digital,
manufacturing discs. You're saying the fact that they own the places that print those discs. I
no,
don't
I mean just the
understand how they.
profit of people buying the disc. Like it's
What?
and it's not just about games. You go
Are
into
you saying that? No, I don't understand.
what are you...
When you buy a game, you're paying for the software, not for the disc. I don't see.
Yeah, but that disc is manufactured and it costs like 50p to stamp it with the game.
Yeah,
like
but surely if you were doing download, then that would be 50p saved, right? Or are you saying that server costs are more expensive than discs?
Well, they would. Yeah, well, for a start they would be, but they would still lose that initial profit margin of the disc. That's what I'm getting at. Like when when people say
I don't
about
think.
No, I'm going to find the post. I'll post it.
Discs are more expensive than downloads. If assuming there were no server costs, I don't understand how you can say there's a profit on. There's no such thing as profit on the disc. It's profit on the software because you have.
But there's no such thing as a server that's going to be free to download.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm just saying.
Data from. Yeah. That's
okay.
That's
So if you're comparing,
okay,
right. Okay.
Yeah. Like that's like the point for. Like I mean I don't know like how far it is away, but like. I can't see it happening like anytime soon. Like even in like 10 years, I don't think it's going to happen. It's just like internet speed is one thing. I mean, like, which is not a problem for me, admittedly, but I'm in like the minority of having like that sort of speed internet. Like my download speed is about 9 megabytes a second. So, that doesn't really bother me, but there's not a lot of people with that speed internet.
Yeah.
So
I just think that like
and like the convenience of just going and buying something on a disc, like the convenience of it. I mean, I would argue that downloading is easier, but whatever.
Yeah.
I just think it's nowhere near as cut and dry as most people make it out to be.
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's going to happen overnight. All of a sudden,
I mean, I think
Oh.
Microsoft were almost trying to force it through, I guess, on the console side. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty much already there on PC. Like, how often do you buy a PC disc? Like, I haven't bought one in.
I buy them all the time.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess,
I buy
but
them
like,
a lot.
But yeah,
I think
Yeah.
the majority of people who are gaming on PCs aren't,
yeah, but
buying
I
a bunch
buy
of
them
discs.
solely for the sake of like that physical copy.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm trying to think of ones I bought recently. Like Dead Space 3 is like, uses Origin in the same way as Steam. You install it off the disc and then that's it. You play it.
I
for
downloaded
Origin.
Dead Space 3, by the way, Joe.
Ah,
So we
sweet.
need to play that over the summer.
We do, yeah.
When I
Yeah,
get home.
Like here's the best of both worlds actually. If it was digital, but when you downloaded it, like they
You
sent
can
you
burn the disc.
something. No, they sent you something in the mail, like I don't know, like
A box.
a box.
Well,
Yeah.
The way I wish
You know,
Amazon
box.
Amazon Music and stuff would work is they send you the disc, but they also like you can download the MP3 like as it's coming. So like you've got the music like instantly, but you also get the CD. Like I wish they would do that, and I wish it would.
But they
would
know
come
they
with,
can
like,
charge people for the convenience of
Yeah,
download,
exactly,
so they're
yeah.
not going to ever give that away for free because you bought the physical one.
Yeah, that's still super annoying.
Which is what kind of Microsoft were doing. They were giving you the convenience of download by linking it to your account and letting you have the disc.
Yeah,
But like the convenience of download is subjective. If somebody's got like a fucking less than 1 megabyte download
I know, but you still have the disc to
Yeah.
put it on your machine
Yeah.
in the first place. I'm saying you got the transferability
yeah.
of
Definitely.
putting
I
it
mean,
onto
it,
different
like
accounts.
the convenience of downloads for like MP3s is like way higher than it's for games.
Oh
Like,
yeah, because
Sure,
MP3 is fuck all.
I think like given the option, I usually would just buy the disc just because downloading a game takes forever.
And it's not like I mean, and it is getting away from games, but like you look at, like how many gigabytes is like a 2-hour Blu-ray?
A lot.
It's a lot, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
it's
it's like
it's double digits.
30,
Yeah,
40.
it's fucking huge. And like that's another thing. Like digital, I think that's kind of, I guess, the main point. Like digital distribution is often looked at as like, oh, the only thing stopping it is internet speed. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it is
Yeah.
internet speed, but it is also like it's just a generation.
If you have, say, I can't remember how many films I have off the top of my head, but I've got hundreds. Like I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of films. I would need probably a dozen hard drives to get like all of those on one, a single drive, and like they don't make like fucking hard drives to that size that you can buy readily, and like it's
Build your own RAID setup.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, and when you like apply that stuff to games, I mean the Xbox One's hard drive is locked, isn't it? You can't do anything with it. You can't upgrade it. It's just what is it 500
Is it
gigs?
locked?
The Xbox One's is you can't upgrade it. It's 500 gigs. I think it was 500.
Yeah, it is 500. I just didn't know it was locked.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
That's
locked.
crazy.
Like the PS4's isn't. But again, you're gonna need like if you're downloading all your games, you're downloading all your films, you're gonna use it. You're gonna use like even a terabyte is gonna go pretty quickly. The length of the console cycles, if it's going to be the same length as this, like, is a terabyte, even 2, 3, 4 terabytes going to be enough? Probably not. Like it's, there's way more to it than just, oh, my download speed is shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, that's just something that frustrates me when people talk about it. It's like, no, like full digital everything is way, way off. Unless, something unless a breakthrough happens or something, but like Blu-ray discs still kind of blow me away, to be honest. A disc that's like 56 fucking gigs, that is insane. Like that's still a ridiculous amount of storage to have on a disc. Like you look at like fucking CDs like 700 megabytes, and you go back to like floppy disks and shit. It's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy. The way that stuff's just accelerated over the past like 10 years. I mean, not even 10 years, maybe like. No, I suppose it is about 10 years actually. But, what were we talking about?
Xbox
DRM shit.
Xbox One.
Xbox 180. That's what we were talking
Shut
about.
up.
It's as lame as that is, it's pretty fucking on the money though.
Yep.
I mean,
Unfortunately.
you know, it's. Do you guys think there's any like really big downsides to it?
I mean, it would. I guess the big downside for me is it would have just been interesting to see how stuff played out. I like with them just having like Sony and Microsoft having completely opposing like viewpoints, I guess,
Mhm.
and just seeing how like
Yeah,
that
now they're kind of the same box, really.
that whole like battle played out, I guess, and seeing whether like Microsoft's gamble, I guess, worked. Like we're trying to force this stuff through. If you don't like it, then go away, basically. Like,
I mean, I can see why they did it, but I'm a little bummed that they didn't at least like stick to their guns.
yeah.
I think it-
I mean, I can totally understand like why this.
yeah, you can. Yeah, you can totally.
It
understand
must
why
be
they-
so hard, like shareholders, like who obviously don't understand like the games industry or whatever, just seeing like Sony getting like cheered and like all this stuff on the internet of just like
Yeah.
like that them getting absolutely torn apart really, and just being like, right, okay, what the fuck is happening? Like, how is this being allowed to happen? Why are the gifts of you being murdered by Kaz Hirai? Like, what the fuck is going on? It's like,
Yeah.
and like having to like explain that and try and like stay the course and just no, this is our vision. This is what we want to do. It's like they're just like, no,
Because-
fuck that. Just do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck they're doing, because that's the way to do it. It seems like.
Because it's not like if they'd have like stuck to their guns and actually come out with it the way it was, the way they obviously had intended it to be, there was at least potential for something. I don't know what, but there was at least they could have come out and they could have done something that maybe made people think, wow, that's actually really cool, and they're only able to do that with that model. Whereas now it's like, yeah, they're the PS4 and Xbox One are very, very similar in a lot of ways. And it's like it's going to be, like the same sort of thing. Whereas at least before they were pretty different.
Yeah.
Granted, not in maybe the best ways, but at least they were different.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of. It's funny. It's sort of selfish, but I sort of wanted to see Microsoft like force this sort of digital future, but like I probably would have just bought the PS4 and then saw what happened. I mean, I probably still am just going to buy the PS4 from the looks of it, but like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
like,
probably
like
gonna
have
get
them
PS4,
sort of be like
but-
the sacrificial lamb almost, just like they do this, maybe they get fucked over and die, but like it shows everyone that this can sort of work, and then like
Yeah.
have whoever the fuck's left at the end of it just like be like, yeah, okay, everything's digital now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're like, like what we just talked about, like everything else isn't in place for it to be, for the roles to be reversed, for everybody falling in love with, the Xbox One. Oh my God, digital everything. I mean, it's a fairly common complaint when people mention it. It's like, oh, my internet is shit. So, this is no good to me.
Yeah.
It is sort of jumping the gun a little bit, trying to do, like, push it as hardcore as they did at this time.
Maybe. But I mean, stuff does sort of have to be forced. Like if we just like go with the status quo, especially in terms of like technology and stuff, like nothing. It takes ages for stuff to change unless someone is like radical and is just like, fuck it, let's just do this. Like, yeah, it might piss off a bunch of people, but it's probably for the best in the end. Like maybe like Microsoft would have, maybe the Xbox One would have been better for everyone in the end, but like the way they were pushing it and like the benefits we were getting out of it by buying it just didn't seem like immediately like better than whatever the hell Sony is offering. I am sort of disappointed because I just wanted to see how it played out. But
Yeah. Like thinking about like the sort of analogy from the previous gen, you could almost say that like Sony's kind of dickhead attitude kind of paid off. Almost. I mean, like it definitely didn't in the long, like immediately, but in the long run, like the PS3 is very much, like if you would consider yourself, a hardcore fan per se of games, and you don't own a PS3, like you are missing out on some pretty damn awesome games that you can only get because the PS3 is what it is, and Sony did what they did at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like The Last of Us. If Sony had completely pulled, you know, a 180 in the same way and like, it's like, no, we're going to go like completely for the same kind of structure as 360. We're not going to try and push this technology at all. That game probably wouldn't exist.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like that argument's like all. It's like it's sort of.
I mean, it's impossible to prove,
like,
but I mean,
yeah,
it is interesting to think about it.
Yeah.
It's like the stuff that like tech wise that the PS3 is capable of. If they had just, you know, pulled a complete reverse on it and just went for the 360 model, like, you know, the stuff that the PS3 has since produced wouldn't, you know, most probably wouldn't exist.
Yeah, and I guess in the end it sort of paid off. Like I think a lot of people are saying like the PlayStation 3's like overtook the 360 now, like in terms of the overall sales. Like,
has it? I don't know.
I think something like that.
Units shipped? I don't know. Maybe.
Don't I think I remember seeing that actually,
Maybe.
but don't Microsoft count like every Red Ring 360, don't they? Like if somebody got a Red Ring 360 and then bought another one, like,
well, I mean, if they bought it at a store, then yeah. I mean,
yeah, they still
I
count.
think I assume if it was replaced, then yeah. But
No,
I mean, like
if they're
it's
replaced,
store,
they
they've got
don't
no.
count them. But if they actually go out and buy another one, then they do, which is sort of miscuing it a little.
But I mean, there's no way they can know that this dude's bought a 360 because
I mean,
like,
there isn't. But I mean,
yeah,
a lot of fucking people had
like
Xbox's Red Ring on them. So
that anomaly, like, sort of.
But I don't think it's probably not significant. Like,
it might.
10 million people that had a Red Ring went out and bought another 360. I mean,
that's still a decent amount of the total user base, I think. Like,
yeah, maybe. It's probably impossible to find any sort of accurate figures on that. PS3 is up to 77 million as of January of this year.
God.
Fact.
Yeah, so I guess the Xbox One and PS4 are going to be very similar, I guess, except, I mean, the big talking point now, I guess, is the price point. Like, PS4 is still cheaper than the Xbox One.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing they, you know, kind of
definitively it seems like a more powerful overall box. I guess, like, the big differentiator now is, like, the whole, like, Xbox One being, like, a set-top box thing. It can, you know, it can do
one
stuff.
One comes with Kinect.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PS4 that comes with the camera will be more. Like,
yeah, I guess, but I mean,
bundle,
is anything?
I think
like,
the camera's $60. So
yeah, the way they like abandoned the Move just makes me think that, like, I don't know, they kind of don't care about motion control or anything. It's like,
you know, to be honest though, I could fucking kiss them for that because God, I just don't fuck about that stuff. Like.
The voice commands.
That was one of the big. Oh, who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? When's the last time you were playing a game and thought, "Gee, this would be better if I could talk and have some"? No.
Oh.
Just if you ever thought that, then no. Just
I think that all the time.
Then you're crazy. Voice commands are fucking gay. Motion controls are fucking lame. They're just. Oh man. Just nothing pisses me off more than that shit. Like them, like, you know, fucking decapitating the Move. Good. Put that thing under a fucking guillotine and never look back.
I wonder how much that lost them, because
quite a bit, I imagine. They really. That's really like the frustrating part about the Move. Like the tech behind it's actually really capable. It's just, you know, there's no real
basically way just like a high fidelity Wii.
Yeah, like there's no real way to apply it to games because it doesn't fucking work. Like, you know, if you are going to do it, like, I don't like it either, but, you know, I think the Kinect is the better way. Like, because at least that is something different. You're not trying to just tack something on to a system that already has a control method that works. Like, you're not trying to, you know, fucking aim down the sights by waving a fucking arm in front of the TV. Like, the Kinect is at least something completely different. So, it's still shit, but, you know, at least it's different.
Yep.
So.
Are we done?
I think so, yeah.
GG.
Not much. There's nothing else. It feels like there was something else news-wise that we forgot to mention. Hotline Miami 2. I think we mentioned that. I can't remember if we talked about that. I think we did.
Yeah,
Hotline.
maybe. No, I don't think we did, but yeah, Hotline Miami 2 has been announced.
Did you play that, Brad? I can't remember.
Nope. Fuck
I know.
that game.
Me and John played it.
Game's cool.
That game is cool.
Okay, I guess that does us for today and this week. We'll be back next week to talk about
More
Microsoft doing something stupid again, or Sony like responding, or so. I don't know.
Do Sony really have to respond?
Like they announced like another like price cut or something just to fuck Microsoft over. It's like that would be pretty crazy.
Didn't they? Remember, I think they did that last gen with the PS2. I think. Remember that? I think when I don't think it was long after the Xbox either came out or was announced. Sony were like, "Yo, PS2's even cheaper now." It's like, you know, pretty.
That's funny.
Like they could have like sold the PS2 for like probably £100 and still made money on it. But
yeah. Okay. Signing off, I guess. Say bye, guys.
bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Fucking idiots.